All right, on this this is a point blank, and we've got me, your host, Chris Powell, for the Houndsman XP podcast, and then we've got a new. Let's save him for last. We got the harebrained Seth Hall.
What's up, everybody? It's good to be here.
You're rocking.
Yeah.
We got Lauren. You're next. You're going to be next. You are the mother of chaos and our new web designer. That website is rocking.
Oh, it looks so good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. She can't even hear us. We're gonna mute her out of the conversation. So, but hey, we've also got a new voice that's coming in to the podcast that you guys heard last Friday. And Chad Reynolds. How you doing, Chad?
Doing great, man. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you here. We're glad to have you here. So how do you feel about jumping on the mic and doing your first podcast?
Well enough, you know. I'm not definitely not shy about talking, but you know, making sure to ask the right questions and stuff like that was, you know, was a little nerve-wracking. But I'm doing all right. I think I'm doing okay. I got a lot to learn, but it wasn't horrible. So.
I think you did great, buddy. That's why I ran all three of your interviews. They were great.
Good.
Yeah, they were all good. I like the mule guy that you guys started calling him donkeys and stuff. Yeah. That was hilarious, man. That guy's a great guest. What was his name again?
Guest. Bruce Swanson.
Bruce Swanson. He was an interesting guy to listen to.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff, and he's even got he was telling me a little bit about a lynx hunt where he loaded up his own dogs and drove 3 days up to British Columbia and did a successful lynx hunt with his own dogs in BC. You know,
been there, done that.
That was
pretty. Just kidding.
Took the side hounds up and caught bobcats.
No, I went to British Columbia and caught stuff in the BC.
Oh, you too?
Yeah. I went for Freedom Hunters
That's
event.
right. I did hear about that one.
Yeah, it was amazing. They hunt lynx there, but it's obviously mostly bears. But yeah, it was really cool. So anyway,
but yeah, he had all kinds of cool stuff to talk about.
He did.
This is a point blank episode. We'll recap some stuff, but I mean, it's pretty much anything goes for this thing. Hopefully, Lauren gets her sound fixed. Or Lauren, can you hear us?
Oh, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
Well, good deal.
Temporarily, who knows?
There is a story. There is a story that we're going to tell on this podcast.
Oh no.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are.
I don't know which story you're talking about, but
you just recently made a road trip to Kentucky.
Oh, we're sharing that?
Absolutely.
Oh.
This is yeah.
How do I keep it PG?
I don't know. You're gonna have to be creative. You're gonna have to be creative.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I did recently go to Kentucky. Are we going to talk about that now?
Yeah, let's just lay it out there while we got good connection.
Okay.
And that way, when we lose you later, well, at least we'll have this part recorded.
Do you want to set it up, or do I just have to start talking?
Okay, I'll set it up. So, Lauren has been waiting. I mean, she checks Piper every day. Piper's going to come in heat. Piper, I can't go on this trip because Piper might come in heat. I'm not sure when Piper's coming in heat. Well, Piper came in heat, finally.
Piper came
Hallelujah.
in heat. Yeah.
Piper came in heat, and then it was the whole time it's been I don't know what stud dog I'm going to breed to. I really want to breed her. Maybe I'll breed to this stud dog. And you picked Crash.
I did. Yeah.
Racket Ridge Crash out of Kentucky. And in typical Lauren Brandy fashion, you just loaded up and drove 8 hours on a
whim,
get this dog bred.
pretty much. Yep. Yeah. So I had been tracking, and I do track her heat cycles in the hound log, the stick bow, canine medical records. I track all my dogs' heat cycles, but it's kind of a window about when they're going to come in. So yes, I'm she might come in heat. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. So
yeah, I know.
Yeah, they just make fun of me. But anyway, she finally came in heat. She's going to be 5 years old in November. before this, made sure she was proven. You know, I've gotten her conformation championship, her bench championship. She's a really good hunter, both on bear and coon. So I felt at that point she was worthy to breed for me. I like her characteristics. I liked her family line, all of that. And I found out about Crash, and I've actually learned more about him randomly from talking to other people, but I found out about him from Chris. And got Piper a breeding exam, like at the vet here, to make sure she was like healthy enough and everything to breed. And I know that's not like typical coonhound people stuff, and I kind of went over and above for this, but it just makes me feel better. Like she's got her OFA and all that too. Anyway, she was in heat, and it was only.
We're gonna charge you an advertisement space for this litter of puppies.
Yeah, this is kind of a long story. It was day 8, and I forgot that I had left Ridge tied out on my crabapple tree, and I was like out feeding dogs or doing something, and then all of a sudden I look, and I'm like, no! And Ridge was mounting Piper, and she was just standing perfectly. I'm like, no, get off, and nothing happened. But it was day 8.
Sure.
They didn't. No, nothing happened. He was still injured at that point. It was a rough go. But I'm like, wow, it's early. So I messaged Tyler, and I'm like, I guess I'm leaving today. So I literally just packed up Piper, drove my truck down to Milwaukee, got my brother's car, and left. And thankfully, my friend was around to feed and water my dogs while I was gone. Drove down to Kentucky and met this guy at his house. And I had never bred a dog before, so I walk up.
I gotta describe Tyler Nally before you get too far into this thing.
Okay.
Well, you talk. You go ahead, and then I'll add.
No, your description of him is good. From what you said.
Tyler is a great guy. I mean, super guy. He's a very unassuming guy, but he's country boy. We're all country boys. You know, we've seen cows. You know, bull breeding a cow. We've seen a horse breeding a horse. And, and it's nothing new. But he's also very soft spoken. And
very
you're
under the radar.
Yes, that's a good way to describe Tyler. Is very under the radar. I've never met anybody that doesn't like Tyler. So it's nothing like that. It's one of those deals that I can just imagine that the story you're getting ready to tell.
He's got a better story, I'm sure.
Extremely awkward.
Yeah, it was really awkward. I mean, this guy has steers. He's got a feed story. You know, he's watched his dog breed 100 females. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is the first time this has happened.
So take it away.
I show up in like some little Mazda car. It's like, I don't know, 7:00 at night. And I pull up into the gravel driveway, and I'm like, hey. And I'm like, so where do we do this? And I walk into like, he's got a really nice kennel set up, and he kind of shows me around, and I let Piper go potty and stuff. And then he brings Crash out, and then like all of a sudden they just like start doing things. And this is all new to me.
When a daddy dog loves a mommy dog very much.
And I'm just like kind of looking at Piper, oh, like, you poor dog. And Crash is a little bit out of shape right now. And Piper, it was just such a contrast because Piper was in like bear running shape. Like you could see all of her ribs. Like she was just jacked in shape. So we're trying to get these dogs to breed, and it just wasn't working. Like he could not find the entry point. You know, he kept trying, and she was standing for him and everything, and it just was not working. And so we kept trying, and we're like, okay, after like 2 hours of us trying, we're like, all right, we'll give it a break. So I drove to E-Town, Elizabethtown, and got a hotel. And I did not know this was like some kind of drug den hotel, but apparently it was. And
Yeah.
It was, and I didn't.
You're calling me from the hotel. It's like, I don't know. This hotel is kind of, dirtbag type motel. It is funny.
And like, I couldn't, the other places were like $160 a night and didn't allow pets. And it's just kind of what I was stuck with. And I'm like, well, I've been in a lot worse. Like, I've traveled alone to other countries and stayed in hostels, like with cockroaches on the floor. So I'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I got the hotel and then met him at the Coon Club, and we drove from the Coon Club to his partner's house, Rocky. And we all have our coon lights on, and then we're trying for another hour to get these dogs to breed. And it wouldn't, the puzzle pieces wouldn't go together. It was like square peg, round hole. They both wanted to. And she just wasn't as swollen as she normally gets.
Well, yeah, they want to.
I mean, it's nature, man. He could get it in. They just couldn't get far enough, and they wouldn't tie. Or he wouldn't knot up or whatever. The anatomy of a male dog is disgusting.
Okay, let's fast forward. We've only got an hour for this show. Yeah.
Fast forward, didn't get her bred that night. The next day, I went to an hour and a half to Lexington to a vet to get her checked and progesterone tested, because I'm like, what if we're just like totally off here?
Yeah.
So I paid $98 to get her progesterone tested, drove 3 hours round trip, and they were like,
that there's a international canine sperm bank right there at Pee Wee Valley. It's like 40 minutes. It's at least probably 30 minutes away from where you were at. They could have done that progesterone test right there.
Well, that's where he was collected, so that's just where I went.
Yeah, I got you.
Anyway, drove back. I get a call from them. They're like, her progesterone's 8.4, breed her Friday and Saturday. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I just hung out, went to barbecue, brought her out to the porch at the barbecue place, and just enjoyed myself. And the next day, I'm like, well, today's your day, Piper. Today is your day. But at the vet, I thought ahead, and I was like, so what if this doesn't work? Can I have an AI kit? So they gave me, in like just a Ziploc bag, a plastic sleeve, a syringe, and a pipette. And that's it. No instructions. But I look at...
Did you only get one sleeve?
One sleeve. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I look at the lady, I'm like, so how do I do this? And she's like, well, the pipette, like just insert it like kind of up and you'll find the right way to go. And that's all she told me.
When a pipette loves a doggy very much.
Yeah. 6-inch long plastic pipette. So I went back to the hotel and I watched like one YouTube video and like read a little bit. And that's all I had to go on the next day. So I arrive, it's like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, well, and we decided we're just going to try this once normally. And if it doesn't work, then we're going to go to my method. Well, we had to end up going to my method. And I had to do it all myself. Tyler, who was like...
Let's describe this.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, when you started off with my method, I'm like, ruh-roh.
So Tyler is just standing there because he's never done
You and
this
Crash
before.
became very intimately
Connected.
Familiar with one another.
Very intimately familiar. So Piper was basically a teaser at this point. So she would get him all excited, and then I was there to finish the excitement. And you put the sleeve over him, and you like hold it there, and then like
Whoa.
What?
All right, I gotta ask a question right now. So what do you mean you put the sleeve over after? I mean, the sleeve was installed on his member before you started your job, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was thinking, whoo!
But
here we go.
But before that, 90 times before that we tried to get them to breed, both Tyler and I had touched it, ungloved, and had stuff all over our hands.
Oh, God!
Part of it, man.
It's part of it. Like, it's just
It is.
what
It is.
And it was
Yeah, but touching dog wieners is weird.
yeah. I never thought I'd be this close to a dog in my life.
We've all grown.
Exactly.
So, the consistency of it is very weird too when it comes out. I don't know.
Let's yeah, it's real stringy and stuff like that. But,
No.
but let's.
It was watery.
We have gone so far into the weeds and the seeds, apparently.
Oh my
The
gosh,
seeds.
this is gonna be like R-rated
I'm trying to keep
doggy
it.
porn.
So anyway,
Chad is like,
he
what
gets
have
all
I signed up
excited,
for?
And
Yeah.
and I realize that he's going, and I'm like, I think I told Tyler, like, just hold him there, like, just make sure he doesn't move, just hold him there. So I'm like, I feel like I have Piper, or he with one hand, and the other hand is on Crash's member with the sleeve, and it's happening. And I ended up doing this three times with him. So the first time I looked at it, I pulled, we were done, and I looked at the sleeve and the light, and I had read, like, if it's a little yellow, it's tainted, like, with urine. And I looked at it, I'm like, I don't know, I think it's a little yellow, we should try again. So we let him rest, and then I went again.
And Crash is like, heck yeah, I like this Wisconsin
Best
girl.
job ever. Like,
Yeah. You should,
I knew I liked these Yankees. I need to move north.
I think they need to send me more city girls. Anyway, so the second round, I looked at it, I'm like, well, we're just going to use this because that's just what's going to happen. So I, like, rolled down the sleeve so I could get close enough to the bottom and pulled it out with the syringe, and, like, was like, okay, I guess this is what I do now. So I put it in her, and the YouTube video, and from what the vet said, I got it up at the right angle, like, it went in and everything, and I inserted it, or pushed the plunger really slow, but the YouTube video told me to, like, have your finger in there too, like, with the pipette, because the female, like, contracts normally on the male. You guys are dying. So I just stand there, like, I'm so sorry, Piper. I am so sorry. And she's just looking back at me like, I'm not sure if I should like this or hate this.
who have you become? That's what she's saying.
Yeah. This is animal abuse. I'm reporting you to the HSUS.
Yeah, no kidding.
No
kidding.
So we finished that, and, like, she's such a chill girl that she just hung out. Like, she didn't do anything weird, and I just put her in the car and she laid down. So then I had to collect him one more time because I was like, I was supposed to stay one night. I ended up staying 2 nights, and I'm like, I need to get home. I want to go home. So I collected him.
Imagine.
And I was like, I need to get away. People are going to start rumors
Tyler
about
probably
me.
wanted you to go home too.
Yeah. So I
Crash
collected
did
him
not,
again. They want me to return again, I'm sure. He does.
That sucker probably chases little Mazda cars all over Kentucky now. It's like, that's her. That's her.
Yeah, forget the furry 4-legged ones. I want the one that's got light skin and a Mazda.
Don't we all? I'm just kidding.
So I collected him again, and I didn't have, like, anything to put it in but the syringe, but it was, like, a lot of stuff. So we ended up filling 2 syringes up. He had an extra one, and I had a Steak and Shake cup.
Oh my god.
So I put the syringe.
Oh my god.
You didn't have a cooler to put it in,
No.
so you put it in a Steak and Shake
Yes,
cup.
a styrofoam Steak and Shake cup, put it on ice, and then I went to the gas station down the road on my way home and took 2 more styrofoam cups for extra insulation and added some more ice and just started hauling back home.
Yeah,
And-
did you get pulled over anywhere?
No,
Excuse me, ma'am. What's in the cup?
no,
Sir, you're not going to believe me.
but I was so hungry by the time I got home. It was like dinner time on Saturday night, and I normally go out to the town bar once a week. So I was like, oh, I'll just go to the Iron Ridge Inn. So I went in there, but I'm like, I'm not leaving Steak and Shake in my truck in the heat. So I brought the cup in.
No, you didn't.
No. Wait.
Excuse me. Can you put this in your refrigerator for a few minutes?
Well, almost. That's all. But they're like, Lauren, no carry-ins. Lauren, no carry-ins. And I'm like, Chessie, it's not a carry-in. I swear to God, it's not a carry-in. You don't want to know what it is, but I just need a little bit of ice. Can I have a cup of ice? So they weren't too happy about that. And I just dumped a little ice in and put it on the floor next to me. And bred her the next day, too.
Forward planning, my friend.
Well, I did not know we were going to get this crazy and wild.
Famous last words.
Yeah. So
no wonder Tyler hasn't been responding to my text. He's like, thanks a lot for that referral.
Right.
If another Mazda shows up on my land, I'm out of here. Like,
yeah. I see another Mazda come in, they're gonna meet bullets coming up the driveway.
Oh gosh,
not happening.
I feel absolutely horrible. But hey, if it works, then it works, and if it doesn't, then it wasn't meant to be, I guess.
Chad, you ever AI'd a dog before?
Yeah, quite a few times.
Did you use your Steak and Shake or your Big Gulp?
I feel like I
it would have been better with a big gulp.
I know, it's so big.
They're not as
Big Gulp.
They're not as oh gosh. They're not insulated though.
Of course. Yes, when Circle K came up with their designs, keeping dog semen cold was definitely on their mind for the Big Gulp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Crash's capacity is definitely Big Gulp, though.
Oh God. He has red
terrible.
cheeks. I don't care if he's a blue tick. He has red cheeks right now from bashfulness.
Yeah. He's like, I can't believe you're telling my story. Oh man, when you told me that story, I was like, we have got to talk about this on the podcast, and you over delivered because we got more detail on this episode
because you didn't know about the restaurant.
Well, I kind of wanted to just cut it off because I knew it'd be a wild and crazy story. But
one day
we're gonna
ask Lauren the story one day, and she's gonna be like, "It went splendidly. Everything went according to plan. I got exactly what I needed, and I went home.
Yeah.
It was lovely."
She had 8. Yeah, everything was great, and then she had 8 perfect puppies, and they all turned out.
Exactly.
Yep.
This is just the beginning of the catastrophe of chaos. I think that is doomed me. So, yeah.
Unbelievable. I'm glad you stayed in long enough, stayed in the podcast long enough here to share the story.
And
That's
I didn't
epic.
even get any bourbon. I was on the bourbon trail and couldn't even stop for any bourbon. It was ridiculous.
I mean, that's some serious dedication for, 5 years into it. I don't know, man. That's wild. Chad, how many? You AI a lot of females?
Oh, I have a lot. With my little terriers, I was trying to breed them a slightly larger than standard for hogs, and some of the lines I crossed in were much larger than some of the female terriers I had. So, yeah, I got pretty good at it. I had a trick with a nitrile glove and a syringe, and it was a pretty smooth operation. I never quite factored in the Steak and Shake cup, but I'll put one in my kit though.
Chad, I got a serious question for you.
What's up?
Okay, so when we were kids, I grew up with this guy who had mastiffs, and as a joke, he held up his pug to the mastiff, and the mastiff had 3 puppies that were half pug, half English mastiff. But I've never done it the other way around. And by the way, those puppies, they just look like miniature bull mastiffs. I'm not joking. They were like 35, 40 pounds full grown, and they look just like a bull mastiff, but tiny. So
the male was a pug, you're saying?
The male was a pug, and we held Pugsy up to the back of Tumis, the mastiff, and we just held him there.
That is some backyard breeding.
We're rednecks. That same day, I had a hand crossbow, and we ran out of arrows because we lost them all. So I loaded a steak knife into it, and when I shot the crossbow, the air took it, and it flew up and knocked his window out. And then we held Pugsy up to the Mastiff. So it was just a day of insanity. But anyway, so but my question really is, what is the limitation in reverse? Because that's another thing we were thinking too, because he had a male Mastiff, and we were like, I mean,
what's the smallest dog it could breed?
Yeah, so like if you're AIing a female, do you have to be very careful about those considerations of her having puppies that are way too big? Or will she like deliver them early? Do you know?
Yeah, I've gone 40-pound stud to 13-pound female before.
Whoa. Okay.
And
But
natural births.
you're talking, was it AI or natural breeding?
AI. No, there was no way that was happening.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
that's what I was wondering.
Mother Nature takes care of that.
Yeah.
I mean,
now
you're
I don't
trying
know, how much further you can go.
Well, when you talk about like the pug to the Mastiff, you're breeding like two totally different body structures. And I mean, personally, I don't think that's right to do in general, that big of a difference. But
well,
you Sultan.
Yeah, you monster.
Oh my.
Well, body structures don't matter because people breed like working dogs to sight hounds, and sight hounds look like chupacabra aliens. They have like way different body structure than like a collie or a pit bull, and people breed them all the time. Yeah, I mean they're dogs, right? They're still dogs.
Well, I think the part that might leave is this was for no other purpose than for the entertainment of some prepubescent teenagers.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it was responsible. I'm just saying it's what happens when 15-year-old bored boys who don't have cell phone or internet are like, hey, you want to see something funny? Brr! And he did it. We were like, whoa, Pugsy's a badass.
Yeah,
I thought it was amazing.
It's better than going to Tijuana, I guess.
Also, those puppies sold instantly. Second he told people that they were half Mastiff, half Pug, they were gone. So I'm not giving anyone any ideas. I'm just saying they went to good homes. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, like I said, I've done 40 to 13 once, and I've done 40 to 15.
And how'd they end up? Like, does she have a large litter, or does she have a smaller litter? Like,
no, yags. At least the yags I've bred generally don't. Like around 5, plus or minus 1.
Okay.
But that's impressive even for a dog that size.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And all natural births, never a single complication. You have a stillborn every now and then, but like everything worked itself out just fine.
Wow.
AI is one of those things in the hound world that people still think it won't work. We've been AI in pigs and horses and everything since the early 70s.
We're just that far behind.
It's like oh, I want live cover.
Well,
I've heard that AI doesn't work, and different things like that. But the female is the one that controls all that. Nature takes care of that. They're not, she's not going to try to implant a 160-pound Mastiff puppy in her uterus. It all works out.
You don't think so?
It always does.
Like, you don't think she'd biologically take that sperm? Seriously? Like, I'm genuinely asking.
No. Like, no, I'm saying she's not going to have a 10-pound puppy.
I see. Yeah, she would just deliver faster. Yeah.
Gotcha. So she's not going to try to give birth to 5. Nature takes care of that, and nature takes care of it the other way too, because there's no way a 160-pound Mastiff could breed a 12-pound pug.
Well, I forget the name of the guy he told me about, but Tyler said, this guy that lives around here that's got like super really good walker dogs, like PKC walker dogs, he AIs all the time. And then after I did it, he was like, wow, this was actually really easy. Maybe this wasn't that bad. And I kind of looked at him, and now thinking back, I'm like, it was easy for you because you didn't do anything. I had to do it all.
Yeah. Well, when I took Jazz down there and bred,
but it was really easy.
Yeah. When I took Jazz down there and bred, then Crash is a larger dog, and I had to support Jazz and different things like that. But I'm telling you, man, the science is out there, and we've been doing it for a long time. And AI and dogs is not new science.
Well, and I learned that you can live ship, like do a fresh collection and ship the semen, and it stays good for 5 days. So people don't need to spend all this money. Like, let's say you've got a dog that you want to breed to in New York and you're in Nevada. You don't necessarily have to get frozen semen shipped, because I asked how much that was, and it was like $1,000 plus $200 for the vet because of the container that it gets shipped in. So if you can do a fresh collection and then just ship it in this little box, you're going to save a lot of money, and we can, spread our blood out more.
And that's
Right.
chilled, not frozen, right, Lauren?
Yes,
Talking about?
correct. Yeah.
As long as you don't freeze it, it's relatively easy. I mean, the main thing is just don't put any air in with the package. And I like to heat it up to room temperature. I got a trick. I'll stick it under my armpit and hold it there. And that's kind of the right
Usually
temperature
I just
rather
get the
than
big
heating
gulp,
it.
you know what I mean? And just swish it around, just get it warm.
There you go.
And
Yep.
just
Put it in a little pipette,
I think I'm going to have to get a special cup that'll just be my collection cup.
On Redbubble. On Redbubble, you can get your very own.
Yes.
HXP.
This is why we hired you.
Insulated.
We need a cup on there called the HXP Big Gulp.
There it is. Outer Agenda, I hope you're listening. Make it graphic.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, everybody.
All right,
So what's the over/under on if Piper's bred? Like, how? Like, do we think it actually worked or what?
I'm gonna say yes. I have a 50-50.
You're a 50-50?
I'm gonna say yes. I'm leaning yes, just because I'm gonna say she loves you and she worked out for you. Cheers.
Yeah. Chad, what do you say?
You did the progesterone testing, and you used like a pipette of at least 3 inches.
It was 6 inches, and I left 1 inch out.
And nothing came out.
No.
Then I think you got it. It's generally that easy.
Yeah. Well, I find out at the very end of September, so.
I've always found people to rush it, go too early, and you miss it going too early. It's always better to wait a little longer. And sounds like you did it.
That's what I think I did. I think I went down there too early to begin with, because she was shacking up with Ridge, and everything looked fine. But.
Shacking up with
my God.
That wouldn't be a bad cross either. I contemplated doing it later in her life. So
yeah.
Anyway, continuing on, that was my story, but I think we have more to tell about other things.
Yeah, I think so. But that was too good to pass up. We've burned up over half the show just talking about that.
It was pretty amazing.
So that was an epic story. I just couldn't pass it up. Yeah.
Oh.
So Chad, what do you think, man? What do you think? We got to the point where we were talking about, and we shifted gears on you, but we were talking about your debut as a host.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that a lot of people may not understand is when we're interviewing guests, we're trying to bring the guest story to the podcast. So a lot of times we just sit back and ask like real obvious questions because it's our responsibility to keep the conversation rolling and different things like that. So, Chad, how was it to be the host, instead of being the guy on the other side, getting the opportunity to share your knowledge?
It was interesting because, the guests you bring on, you hunt them down and you find people that either you want to hear from and or other people would want to hear from. So you definitely want to get it out of them. And sometimes they want to talk, and sometimes they're like me and want to talk too much, and then other times they don't, they clam up a little bit. So then you got to ask a lot of questions. And I'm learning the art of sometimes maybe asking a question that you might already have an opinion on just to get people to talk. So there's a learning curve to it. I'm trying to learn a lot of that, and then think all the time about what the audience wants to hear, what they'd be interested in, and trying to break down some of the things that might go over, this isn't any kind of elitism, everybody knows different things, but I've learned stuff through all the shows I've done so far. So if there's anything that I think, might be hard, trying to break it down and then it's exciting. But then not trying to make it too interviewy, So I don't know. We'll get there. In the meantime, as long as I bring some exciting people around and talk about exciting stuff, my thought was I couldn't mess it up too much. As long as
you don't have to worry so much about what people want to hear. We just talked about dog semen in a cup for like 30 minutes.
Yep.
So,
and I can't imagine, Chad, that you don't have exciting people around you.
Yeah,
so.
That's definitely true.
There's a bunch of them. It's right now I'm kind of spoiled for choice, so it's.
When I first heard you, Chad, on the show, I was listening and I was cleaning my house. I stopped cleaning the house. I sat down and I listened to you talking about draughts, and I knew you were a sighthound guy peripherally. I was like, this dude's super interesting, and I want to talk to this guy more. So I hunted you down for a tailgate talking about hair finder dogs. And, man, the rest is history. The patrons have heard this. So if you guys want to, this is just a shameless plug, but there's a lot of bonus material on the Patreon page, you guys. It's kind of behind the scenes, the whole saga of Chad. I believe I had to see what young people were saying. I called the episode Giga Chad, which means a manly man of all men. And so there you go. Chad does it all. I'm just a lowly specialist. You know what I'm saying? So, check it out, you guys. And all Patreon content in September is public. So I got an extension of All Mixed Up. Chad was such a beast for the Moving Critters episode that we had so much content. We had an overabundance of Hauling Critters content. So the Patreon page has got extensions, part 2s, and extra segments from that episode. So, and we had some crazy cool guests. So, I just wanted to get that out there. I had to. I'm too excited to not share that stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff, like, all the way from latches, the different types of dog box, bird dogs, sighthounds, safety gates, latches, the whole bit. Yeah, there was a lot of fun stuff. And then the no box rig riding,
Yeah, and falcons too. All Mixed Up, I realized the last 2 episodes have had a falconry component in them. And it's only because I find it infinitely interesting. And I want to talk about it. And apparently Houndsman XP has become the podcast for falconers to come join. So, hey, to all our bird brains out there, welcome. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
And the fact that you can pair up a falcon with dogs, and a lot of people do put the 2 together.
This guy right here, I'm pointing right at him in my little box here. Point, point, point.
There's quite a few.
Yeah, no doubt. I'd never seen and never thought it was possible, but some of the videos you put out, Chad, on falconry and your Yog Terrier, here's why isn't the Yog Terrier trying to rip the falcon apart? It's because of training, it's because it's cool.
Yeah, they just learn it's the VIP, this is part of the team, and Yags have a habit, and a reputation for being wild and unruly and unpredictable, and that's just not the case. I mean, if you take a dog that is truly driven, is very confident, and has a high pain tolerance, I mean, literally that is safer to me. I have a video where a young bird, a very, very young bird in its first year, got a little mixed up, and instead of grabbing the rabbit, grabbed the terrier, and the rabbit got into a hole, and the terrier ran up to the hole, and the hawk has the dog by the top of the head, my Yag Terrier, and she's going around from hole to hole, peeking her head in the holes, and a softer dog, what we in the States would consider a safer dog, a little more predictable dog, would have gone into fight or flight sooner and turned on the bird and bit it.
Like a beagle or something.
Yeah. Or I don't know. Insert your breed here.
I'm just wearing this spiky, horrible hat. Like, I might as well keep hunting.
But there's a rabbit.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a rabbit.
It's chasing rabbits with hot sauce is what it is, It's just, but my point is a softer natured dog might have gone into fight or flight and turned on the bird. Whereas the Yag Terrier has an incredible pain tolerance and is super confident. It's just,
It has the drive to just keep going.
Yeah,
It's all good, dude.
So
yeah.
Would you
so
say that they're highly trainable dogs?
incredibly.
Yeah.
Incredibly. And the more they, like, to me personally, the more a dog wants, the easier it is to manipulate them. You know, it's dogs that don't really care. You bring out a toy and you're like, you want this? And it's like, maybe. You know, what about this treat? I could do without it. You know, like,
that's
what
half
about
my
praise? I don't really need it. And, you know, you can't manipulate that. It's hard to work with it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you take an animal and so, hey, do you want this toy? And they're like doing backflips with their eyes rolling back in their head. Some people are like, way too much. I'm like, I could teach that thing calculus. You know, like there's the want to's there. You know, like everything else follows behind. You just gotta, you know, repetition and consistency. So.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've noticed out of my yard so far, he got in a log yesterday, and the other two dogs
in a log.
didn't even. Yep, and he got inside a log, and I was like, "Okay, what's he got?" And I didn't know if it was a coon or a possum. Well, eventually a possum comes out of the log with him, and the other two dogs are piling on. He's so focused on the possum, he didn't care what else was in there with him. He was just like, "This is mine. I'm hanging on to it." Any other dog over the years, you know, I thought it was pretty smart because when you knock a coon out of a tree, you know, and the dog, you're trying to teach him the release command. You put one hand on the collar, you put one hand on their flank right in front of their back leg, and you just pick up that skin right there, and you just say, "Out, we're done." Mm-hmm. And every hound, I've never seen a hound that won't release when you do that to him. Not him, buddy. I mean, it is like, like, no, he doesn't care. And it's one of those deals where you're stepping on the possum and you're stretching him out and almost choking him.
Like,
you know,
that dog could be near death. And
yeah, I mean, he's not letting go. The drive is unbelievable, but they just figure stuff out so quick.
That's one thing I was ready for, but also really had to completely retool my thought because I grew up with like working style breeds like pointers and stuff, and they're so trainable, they're so biddable. Then you work with these kinds of dogs, they just, sighthounds, they don't care at all. If you don't have something they're super interested in, which is usually food, they're just so independent and so meek. I heard a guest once, I was interviewing a guest long ago, Luke Pywell, and that's how he described them. And I was like, yes, you're right. That's the perfect word for them. They're just meek. They're very shy in their heart. And so you can be you don't have to be so hard on them to get them to do what you want. They're very sensitive animals. And so I've become this like very soft-spoken trainer just because you don't really have to be harsh with them. They're just so sensitive. So it's kind of nice. You know, I kind of like that. They're hard-headed, but they're very sensitive.
Yeah.
They're like,
but they do so much
dogs.
stuff naturally.
Say that again, Chad?
Instinctively. I said they did, but what I find is so neat about the sighthounds, and of course there's a lot of different things you could, you know, there's always outliers and ones that go against the grain. But as a rule of thumb, I've always joked around about sighthounds is like they either do it naturally or you can't almost not get them to do it at all.
I agree.
So
I couldn't
like
agree more.
With the trot, you know, I have to teach it like, okay, you're going to go swim across the lake, go all the way to the other side, 100 yards, 300 yards over there, find the duck, bring it to me. Don't chew it, bring it back, sit in front. You know, you got to do all this stuff to work at it. And then you turn around and this sighthound runs 3-4 miles away, kills a jackrabbit, and then immediately turns around and runs it all the way back to you, spits it out of your feet and goes about it. And you didn't teach it anything.
Yeah.
Nothing at all.
They just do that.
But if it didn't do that, if it didn't do it naturally, you couldn't, you know what I'm saying?
Totally
agree. You couldn't make it do it.
Yep.
So,
yep.
And then at the same time, like how much work would it have to take to teach, you know, a cur dog or whatever to run 5 miles away, we're out of sight, and then turn around and come back to the exact point? Because, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, Seth, with mine, as long as you stay where you were,
yes,
they'll come right back.
They come back. Yep.
Right back to you. And without any training. You don't have to teach them anything.
Yeah, they just do it. So, one thing I think is like you were saying though, is if they don't want to do it, it's like sit. I don't train any of my hounds sit. None of them. I don't train them anything but come, load up in the buggy, and get them, which is the easiest command in the world to train. Yeah. But like, you know, it's like you were saying, why would I train them sit? And a gentleman I hunt with sometimes, his name is David Heiss. He's an older guy. He's like 80. But he made a joke. I was like, I don't teach my hounds sit. And he's like, how many jackrabbits do you catch sitting? And I was like, ooh, I like that. Yeah.
A lot of show dog people don't teach their dogs to sit because then the dog will want to sit in the ring instead of stand. But that's kind of different. I ask my dogs to sit and wait before I feed them. So that's just.
I do too.
Yeah.
They have to sit down and they have to wait. And Ridge is the best at it. He's a good
Ridge
boy.
is the best at everything.
There's no free, no free meals around here. They work for every meal they get. If it's just simple sit, if it's just a hold command or a get back command, whatever it is, I try to make a dog do something and then use it as a training experience for them every time.
It's too easy. That's the way I love to train. Everybody thinks you got to do these like hour-long sessions. I love teaching a dog in 60 seconds a day, every day. So you're taking small steps.
Well, they don't get worn out over it or just bored of training. They don't realize they're getting trained.
Or me either, like an hour long, it's work. But if it's 60 seconds a day, okay, I could squeeze that in, anywhere. Too easy. And that's, I don't do this with all of my hounds, but Chris, I'd like to, you said get back. Are you talking about have you ever had like a bay where the hounds are up there baying it out on a rock ledge or whatever, and then you want to call your dogs to get back so that somebody could take a shot? Is that the get back you're talking about?
Get back for me is like, it's a dog box, when you're trying to select a dog.
Yes.
And I was really amazed and started pushing me down this path when I hunted with Shorty Gorham in Texas. He invites his dogs to the entrance to come out of the box. For me, a get back is always, I don't allow my dogs to mob me at the food pan. When I go in the kennel to feed, then I expect good citizens. And when I say get back, I expect them to be in the doghouse and wait for me to say you're free and come out, and then they can eat. My wife says I'm a control freak, but dogs like that kind of structure.
Yeah.
They like that release. They like the point where you're like, you're free. It's like party time,
Yeah, I did that today with Piper.
And so get back for me is that command when, like you're crate training a dog. When I open the door on the crate and Tough gets crated every night. So I crate him. The next day when I come back, it's like, get back. And he sits in the crate until I say, you're free. And now we're to the stage where when I say you're free, then he comes out and he sits in front of the kennel and I give him his reward. And then, okay, let's go. And boom, he's wild man from then on. He gets that release. So my command at bay ups and things like that is we're done. If we're at a bear tree Friday and we walk in and all the dogs are there and I just reach down, look at Cage and say, and Diablo, we're done. And they follow me away from the tree. That's their release command at the tree.
I use done. I use done too, but sometimes it works better than others. Like when you got a bear 10 feet up, it doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm talking about, I pulled from hog hunting, and I know a lot of houndsmen have been doing it long before I had too, but specifically for bay and shoot with pigs. So you have one boar or a number of pigs or whatever, wadded up in a briar bush, and then you have however many cur dogs, terriers, hounds, all of the above, and they're all bouncing around in front of the hog, and you're trying to get a shot. So like my get back, to me, I do a lot of the same things you guys are talking about as well. I love free in the kennel. I base every single dog, doesn't matter what it is, starts with the crate games that you're talking about, Chris. But with the get back, I start this in the kennel with the bulls, just like you guys are saying, so that you can line up, get ready to take the shot, and then yell, get back. And you get like 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds, like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3, but they'll lunge out of the way. They'll jump back from that pig like he's electric. And then you can take your shot, and then they're back in again. And, we use that for hogs, bear, and lion. If they're up in a tree, you don't have to worry about it. But if they're rocked up, that can be bad. And I've even used it one time when they were on some slick rock and some were going to go off. So we weren't even taking a shot, but I just ran in there screaming, get back, get back, get back. And they all at least knew what I was talking about,
Yeah, Bubba Allen uses that same thing. We interviewed him last year, I think, in Texas. And he does a lot of nuisance control work with hogs, and so he gives a command, and the dogs give him that break, and he's able to make a good clean shot at that point.
When you guys
don't need long.
Yep.
When you guys have an animal up a tree like a bear or a lion, like something bigger, do you guys always leash your dogs up if you're going to take that animal down, or have you called them back to you where you're taking the shot from and then shot the animal and not had them leashed?
Almost all of mine I tie back for a shot.
Yeah.
I misunderstood you in the beginning. Yeah, like if you're going to shoot it, they come down, they are not happy.
Yeah, so like
I'm the same.
Out west, we've had like a lot of dogs out, and we didn't carry like leashes. I carried like 2, and we call every single tree that I was at. We call all the dogs back, and they come. Even mine came back to pretty much where we were shooting from, and then you shoot, and the bear comes down, and that's that. It's crazy.
Do they stay back or do they run in?
Oh, when the bear starts coming down, they all run in, and then so it's a safety issue.
Yeah.
But so far, it's been okay.
That's why I tie back. I always started tying back. I even started tying back on coon trees, because when you get a 15-pound coon falling 30 feet,
it could break a dog's back.
Absolutely. So I just tie everything back, and that. Now, if I'm in training season or I have no intention of taking the game that's in the tree, I don't tie, and I know Heath and those guys over there, every tree they go to, you get there and everything's tied back.
That's how it is in
Wisconsin,
like bear hunting, and I'm not a fan.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more of a deal where everything's, it provides some order at that point, to the chaos right there. Everybody's got everything tied back. You're avoiding problems. So when I go to Virginia, I tie back. If I go to Idaho, we don't ever tie anything back if we're planning on getting the boomstick out, then stuff gets tied back.
Yeah, specifically for when it comes down. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. It's not so much the shot, it's when it's on its way out and 5 or 6 start piling on, they start losing their brains and will grab a hold of the pointy end. And
right. Yeah.
Competition you have to.
Always tie them back. So it's kind of one of those ingrained things.
Is it a rule or
it's
like, no? It's like respect.
It's just, it's one of those deals like if I tie my dog up, I know he's not going to leave. That's the way it used to be in the old days, and it's just been kind of a traditional thing. When you get there, you tie your dog up and you tie it back. Even if he's by himself, you've got him tied back away from the tree so people can move around the tree, people can operate, shine the tree, everything. You know where the dog is all the time, so you're not worried about where the dog is. So, yeah. You're supposed to it says handle your dog in the rules when all dogs are handled. So handled has taken on the meaning of the dog is leashed and he's secure. Now, if you had a dog that could follow you around and walk at heel with you the whole time, off leash, I would say that dog's handled.
I've done that, like when we are walking to like a new spot or something like that, and everybody has their dog leash. I'm like, can I just walk with her? Like, and they let me. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, we all have our own signs or words that we use, like get back, out, down, free. Yeah. I use just
if you know how to
get in the dog box, and then I call them by name to come out the door.
Right. Thing about dogs is tone is so important. The way you talk to them and the tone of voice that you use a happy voice, you use a gruff voice, You know, I mean, you can sit there and talk to a dog and be like, "You're an idiot. Oh, you're the dumbest thing I ever saw.
They're
Oh
like,
my goodness, you're
"Yay."
just I don't know why I haven't. Yeah, I don't know why I keep you." And that dog's just like, "Oh, that's great, man."
Mhm.
You know, they don't understand that. They understand action and they understand tone.
And the cadence is something else I've really.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter
Yeah.
what you say. You know, you get like some people, if they say it the same way, get down. At a long distance, all the dog's hearing is, rah, rah. You know, they don't even hear the words. They just hear the enunciations.
I
And
it's
cadence.
swear my
Yeah.
wife is the same way. You know what I'm saying? Get down.
Yeah. So yeah, I totally agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah, and how different dogs take it differently. Like Cedar is very meek, and the same tone that I can use on other dogs, I cannot use on her. But
Yep.
maybe she's.
Hey, we've burned up almost an hour here, and there's some stuff that we want to do, and I don't even know if we can't even do it. We're gonna have to record another podcast on Hound Brain stuff.
I saw what you got in your hand there, Chris. I've heard your
People are still
Grammy
gonna
Award,
listen.
your Grammy Award winning album coming out soon.
Oh my! What the old? How did we get on this? How did we get on the?
I'll tell you how. If you were
Jaw
listening
Harp?
to
How'd that happen?
the Patreon page, I was talking about how I went to see internationally acclaimed Mongolian folk metal band, The Who, and they were playing a bunch of crazy instruments I'd never even seen before, and one of them was the Jaw Harp, and I posted it, and you were like, "Yo," Chris was like, "I know how to play this thing," and you started playing it, and then you sent us a very strange all black recording. It was like you in the dark or something, so no one would know you were playing. And
I don't think Lauren and Chad have heard it.
play it.
I mean, I've heard other people play it, but you also mentioned it, like Seth, in a Facebook post or
Yeah, that's right.
show notes or something.
There it is.
Yep. Yep.
That's a
Yeah,
D for effort right there.
D for effort.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I got called out on this dude. Seth is like, "Oh, you can." Well, I had to actually order a new Jaw Harp, Jew's harp, whatever you want to call it. In the hillbillies call it a Jaw Harp. But yeah, let's see what we can do with this thing. Are we?
I'm waiting.
You're waiting.
We're waiting.
All right.
Somebody start chanting.
I can't. Okay. Is there?
I'm just headbanging over here.
We might need to cut this down. And
Do you even know what song that was?
no, I
It's
couldn't.
because you're not a freaking hillbilly. That's why. Seth, what song was that?
Dude, I grew up in New Mexico. I don't know. Was that like?
I-
I don't know. I couldn't tell.
I didn't.
High on the mountaintop, what do I see? Bear tracks, looking back
I
at
think
me.
you need to work on your note change.
Okay, so let's go ahead and mute Lauren right now and cut her completely off the team.
Just a hater. I'm saying this. I want someone to make a TikTok or Facebook remix to that song and them singing. Houndsman
There you
XP
go.
fans, I'm calling you all out.
There you go. Yep, no doubt. Well, you called me out.
Thanks, Chris.
I'll
Round of
go
applause.
ahead and
Round of
send-
applause.
Yes.
I'll go ahead and send Lauren one of these, and
Does-
she can show us how to play.
Does it hurt or vibrate? Like if you had a filling or something, does it feel weird
No,
in your
not
mouth?
at all.
No.
Not at all. It's just it's controlled by your diaphragm and by your the air chamber that you create in your mouth, and like you can just sit here and just pluck it. It doesn't do anything good.
It's a very interesting instrument.
Yeah, it's like one of the oldest musical instruments ever. Is, you know, some people say it was developed in China and hit the Silk Road and spread across the world, but most people in America think it's hillbilly.
Yeah.
But it was actually created for the King's Court, and if you do a lot of research on it, and they made TEDx's about Jews harps and all kinds of stuff. So
I want to know the first
crazy.
guy who made that instrument and made that sound. He's like, guys, I got a great idea. Check this out. I'm going to jam out hard. Boing, 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 boing. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
like forget
cartoons.
string on a piece of wood. Like, I'm going to throw this piece of metal in my mouth. Oh, yeah, that does sound like a cartoon sound effect.
It's where it came from.
Oh.
So as you draw air across the tongue, it's called the tongue, the little springy part here in the middle. It's called the tongue, and you know, you just make different sounds with it.
Huh.
That might be more intricate than the French horn and the cornet that I played.
Did you play any instruments, Chad?
No. No, not even a little bit.
This is...
I'm sensing a new Houndsman XP intro song right now.
Yeah.
That's on you guys. I mean, I think people might turn it off at that point, not continue listening.
Can you do like Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen?
Oh my gosh.
Mama.
Okay, wait. No, don't even attempt it. We're saving this for the Patreon page. This is bonus content, okay? Don't you dare do Bohemian Rhapsody on air right now.
I see a little silhouette by the bush, by the bush.
Guys, this is, I cannot believe that I'm, Chris, of your many admirable characteristics, I will say, good on you for playing it on air. That was
We'll see if it comes across the way. Obviously,
I don't have talents like that. I only have talents when it comes to male dogs.
Oh God!
Wow. All right. Well, we've been running about an hour and 2 minutes. Are we going to save Hound Brain stuff? Or are we going to do that?
I don't know. We have a lot of episodes that are an hour and a half.
Do you want to dive into it?
It's up to you, brother.
People can pause it and then pick it up the next day on their drive to work.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
We got the time to do it. So we kind of started goofing around and coming up with all kinds of, how do you know if you're a houndsman? How do you have hound? If you've got it,
you're a real houndsman.
We have discovered an affliction. Let's set this thing up right. We have discovered an affliction that true houndsmen have, in it. And there's several signs that you might be suffering from this affliction. And we just started making a list on different things. So you might have houndsman brain. I'll just start it off with the first one. Have you guys got the list pulled up?
No, but I can go to our drive.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So I'll just run through them. You might have a houndsman brain if you've spent the grocery money on dog food.
We've all done that.
I need a look.
How about
this is
like
a vocal thing.
Put a finger
this is
down.
a vocal thing.
No, it's a put a
Hang
finger
on
down
a second.
F.
Yeah. This is a vocal show. There's no video. So, head nods and things like that.
Sorry, crowd.
There's
I was laughing,
no
but I had my mic muted there. But
So I have definitely gone to like a food pantry because I'm more poor because I spend money on dog food and not people food.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. The next one is you've been accused of cheating because you spend all your time texting and talking to other houndsmen.
Oh, yeah.
my friend had an $800 long distance bill.
Chad's got to know, yeah. Chad's got to know, yeah.
You have to be in a relationship for that to happen. So, no.
There's a... Oh, never mind.
Chad, what's your experience with that?
Oh, plenty. My wife and I have been married for like 19 years now, I think, and most of it has had a terrier or a hound or some type of dog involved.
Or a big gulp cup. It's just been
mini late night text, or vet care or something where a buddy texts me and I sleepily pick up the cell phone and then roll out of bed and go to the other room. Like, who are you talking to? Fred had a snake bite or something. Let me see. Oh, really? Here, kind of thing. So yeah, many of that.
When I explained it to her, I made sure I had my cadence just right. No, honey.
There you go.
It's a friend.
Yeah. You've ever missed a family gathering to pick up lost hounds? Have you done that, Chad?
Oh yeah. Yeah, like late night, they go down into a canyon, and you can't get down from there, so you got to drive 2 hours around the other side and come down into it, and then you're late. Heck, my wife and I got married. I couldn't get all the pig blood underneath my fingernails out when we got married.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I miss
Casey.
family gatherings because I'd rather field trial sometimes or do something else.
That's a good one. Go to our grandmother's 100th birthday or go to a water race or a field trial.
She's seen 100. It's enough.
Lauren's like, she's had enough of those.
Yeah. So yeah, there's another one for your list. If you've been married with wild game blood underneath your fingernails, you might have hound brain.
Yeah. There you go. I like it. I like it. Yeah. Let's see here. You've collected pocket change for the year to offset fuel prices for hunting season.
Anytime I see spare change, I go, oh, money, and I pick it up. Always. Doesn't matter what.
All right. So when you bring your spare change home, are you the type that pulls your change out of your pocket and you just, you save that every night? Or
I got a Tupperware on my kitchen cabinet area, and it's just full of change. Mostly pennies, which is really a bummer because they're essentially worthless. But I'm gonna take that thing to a Coinstar. Me and my wife are guessing. I got probably about $80 worth of coins in there. Would be my guess. So I'm gonna cash it in for one bag of dog food now because prices are insane. Ugh.
My coins are always mixed up with 22 and 17 shells, so it's like all one jar all together.
Yeah, you left a bunch of 17 shells at my house, by the way. My truck, I still have your magazine full of 17 shells in my Tacoma.
You're just gonna have to buy a Savage 17 rifle, and you're welcome.
Yeah. So my coins, I actually separate them. I've got a shelf in my bedroom right there.
You are
I've
OCD.
Got a quart jar well, it's easier. It's easier to do it this way. When you take 2 seconds and separate your quarters, your dimes, your nickels, and your pennies, man.
Who do you have buried in your backyard? My question.
No. So it's I've got 2 quart jars full of quarters. I've got the pint jars I usually use for dimes because they're a little easier. But yeah, I separate the change for sure. Yep. All right. The next one. This is a good one, and there's one person that will understand this. You've driven 30 hours through a snowstorm to meet some dude you've never met at a secluded cabin in the middle of nowhere to chase a lion.
And it's not Brokeback Mountain.
It's not. I mean, that oh,
don't be pointing fingers, Big Gulp Mountain. Don't be pointing fingers.
Yeah. Larry Anderson will absolutely, I wrote that one. Larry Anderson will absolutely understand that one. I drove from Indiana. We found one another on Facebook for this enchanted meeting. And I drove from Indiana to Condon, Montana, and rented the cabin and everything. And both our wives were they wouldn't go. They're like, nope, not going. What? Just go along. We'll have a good time. Nope, not going. He could be an axe murderer.
I've met multiple people off the internet and hunted with them, and it's been good so far. But I do a careful amount of vetting. I'm just gonna say this on air. You know what I'm saying? So if you want me to come hunting with you, I've been watching. You know what I mean? But Michael Sula, shout out to that guy. I met him totally random on the internet. That's turned out to be one of my good friends, man. That guy's awesome.
I feel like it's way less risky, honestly, if you're a man doing these things than what I've done as a woman.
I would agree with that.
You've always got to bring that.
Yeah, the whole feminist in me.
Whatever.
Well, our last bite dog is passed, and we're about to get into another one. But Gitmo, our Malinois, always went everywhere with my wife, and she was about as good as you could get. She just put them in the back of the truck and then opened the cap, and she's bought saddles and this and that, met with people. And he always, it kind of worked out. It was
I need a protection.
10-year-old dog.
Yeah.
Like a 10-year-old bite dog trained. So the other car would pull up and they'd get out and he'd just give one bark. Arr! And like, I am here.
You know what I need?
Yeah.
I need a little protection dog like Bogan, like Josh Michaelis has got.
Don't give him any credit. That guy, he doesn't know what he's doing.
Well, I don't know what I'm doing either, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, why would you pick a freaking blue or a red heeler to be your protection dog? I mean, it's like, talk about pushing a rock uphill.
I'll tell you one thing. I don't think right now I could handle a Malinois or a Dutchie. So, Well,
you couldn't handle a red heeler that you got to talk into biting somebody either.
All right,
need a Chihuahua.
I retract my statement. Yeah, those dogs have like the biggest bite record.
They're ferocious.
Yeah.
Well, everybody likes to knock on them. Like, they aren't a guard dog, but they're a watch dog. Like, I've broken it down. Like, I mean, think about it. If somebody's got like a big cur dog, and let's say bad guy is coming, the dog can go out there and bark at you. You could shoot him. You could kick it. You could, hit it with a stick or something like that. Have you ever tried to kick a Chihuahua? It's impossible. It's literally impossible. You cannot kick a Chihuahua.
It's like a robotic drone football that can just like move everywhere.
It's gonna, and if you got a pack of the rascals, like if I had like 5 or 6 of them out on the property, somebody's gonna pull up. There's gonna be 6 or 7 little yappy dogs. You can't kick them. You can't shoot them. You can't get close enough to hit them with a stick. They're just gonna back up like you're a bear. They're gonna bay you like a bear. They're the perfect. They're the perfect watchdog.
Hey, did you grow up in southern New Mexico or what? Because you're speaking packs of loose Chihuahuas. I'm like, dude, this is just my entire life.
People always say, they think they need a really big dog if all they want is a watchdog. And even if you get the big dog, let them be the big guns. A lot of times those things can be a little aloof. Have one big dog in the back and 2 or 3 Chihuahuas up front. That's about as good as it gets. I mean, if a mosquito farts loud, the Chihuahuas are going to tell you about it.
It's true. I really like your point about how they bay you like a bear. It's so true.
Yeah.
They keep right out of distance.
Oh, it's a little dog. A little dog, I'll just kick it. No, you're not. It's impossible to kick a Chihuahua.
Well,
Pele couldn't kick a Chihuahua. It's not going to happen.
It's just like the deal we put out this week on the handgun selection. I used to carry Keltec 32. And all my cop friends were like, I'm carrying a 9mm, I'm carrying a Smith & Wesson 40 or whatever. It's like, how many of these do you want in your face? Same with the Chihuahua. It's nobody wants to get bit by a Chihuahua or a Malinois or a freaking Mastiff. It's all relevant.
I've been bit by my fair share of Chihuahuas. It sucks. Yeah, I agree. It sucks. It's a sting.
Yeah. It's a distraction for sure. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's move on because I'm not going to run through all these.
There's no way. There's so many.
No. Have you ever told your mom you were going out partying so you could stay out all night coon hunting?
Well,
you guys have.
I was going to say.
Might have.
I didn't get into it till I was older, so I didn't have anyone to answer to.
I did. I used to tell my mom, hey, I'm going to go hang out at my buddy's house and spend the night over there. Well, who's going to be there? Oh, he's going to have a few friends over. And really, I was out coon hunting, all night long.
And then they tell their parents that they were coming over to your house. to stay the
Yeah.
night. You know,
That's
most
right.
parents think
That's
you guys
right.
are just staying over at each other's houses and you can. I was running pigs.
I mean, I did that for New Year's Eve
Yeah.
one night when I was like actually going to party somewhere that I shouldn't have gone,
Right.
and then I got in trouble.
Well,
I got one
All
on
right.
here that there's one on here, Chris, that I that is like my entire life.
why?
It says you let your hounds eat and drink on the road before you do. Dude, always.
Yeah.
And I always tell my nephew, take care of your hounds first. You know what
I think
mean?
I wrote that one. I wrote the last
Yep.
4. That's 4. Yeah.
We're gonna skip a couple of these because I'm not sure they're PG. Left your family at church because your hunting buddies said they needed backup on a mean bear.
You did
You
that,
ever done
Chris.
Huh?
You did that, Chris, didn't you?
No, I don't live in bear country, but I've heard of guys that, you know, they'll be at church and somebody will get a text or whatever, and it's like half the church leaves because somebody's got a bear going, you know.
There's a
That's
redneck
awesome.
honor system though about the same thing with getting stuck. See, where I'm from, it's always getting stuck. So it's yay, I'm stuck out in the middle of nowhere. Come get a posse and get me out. Whoosh, the redneck caravan's rolling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you bet. You bet.
Which has come really good in handy for me. One time I got my truck high centered on a dune at midnight near the Mexican border, and all my boys came and found me and got me out. All I had to dig was a dog bowl. So I was on my hands and knees digging with a dog bowl, trying to dig through like a huge dune. And yeah, so Houndsman Brain
No doubt.
is universal.
Next Houndsman Brain thing. Your credit card charges are more for dog and hunting related things than anything else.
Oh, story of all of our lives.
That's one of Lauren's.
Yeah, that's mine. I would love to, you know how like you can look at your credit card and like see what categories you spend money in, like gas, restaurants, whatever. I would love to see it calculate on like dog stuff because it doesn't always calculate right. But yeah.
We'll get a hold of Citibank and say, hey, you need to add this category.
US Bank.
Hound stuff.
Yeah.
US Bank,
Yeah.
Citibank, whatever.
Well, and
yeah.
recently it's been vet bills, like holy hell. But yeah.
When I started hunting
Yeah.
with dogs, I used to say this a lot. People would be like, oh, you love rabbit hunting. Or they'd be like talking about, they'd be like, oh, you love elk hunting. I'd be like, I'm too poor to elk hunt. I just chase jackrabbits with dogs. And one day my brother was like, you got to stop saying that, dude. Because you spend 10,000 times more money to catch a jackrabbit with a dog than you do to go shoot an elk. Like, there's no denying that. And I was like, man, you're exactly right.
The gas that I buy, like I don't commute for work. I barely go to the grocery store. I don't go out. So like pretty much all my gas is hunting related. You know, the
Fish
truck.
fry on Fridays.
Well, a couple times a month. And like the camper is strictly pretty much for hound stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
I just bought a new truck.
That thing will be condemned
it's
after you get done hound hunting.
oh my gosh, it's already worse for wear. Like one window ripped off on the highway and I have acrylic on there. The dogs have ripped the shades, so I have to buy new shades and new screen. Like
Dude, when you were at my house, your dogs jumped through your window like 2 times.
I know. Yeah. You think I would have learned my lesson, right?
One time I made the mistake of knocking on her door at like 7 a.m. and I forgot all her dogs were in there.
That was a mistake.
I knocked on her door and it was just like just a deafening roar of hounds barking at me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot there's 4 dogs in there with her.
Like I was awake.
It's like a 10-foot camper, isn't it?
11, yeah, it's a Camp Light 11 FK.
Yeah.
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 You're crazy.
Crazy.
You're crazy.
Crazy. Well, the reason I like all those. If you have another one, drop it on our Facebook page and just title it Hound Brain and add to this list. So it's kind of fun stuff to think about the craziness that we go through to keep these hounds.
Yes.
Be in it every day.
Especially for Lauren.
I finally
It's always
did
craziest for Lauren.
go to the doctor about my knee so yeah.
Yeah.
Put that off
cover
for
that
long
in
enough.
another podcast.
Do you know what just happened right now? It started raining right now. This is good. Wonderful. Anyway.
We just got
Yep.
over 7 inches of rain and it's not good here.
I haven't had 7 inches all year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds, well, never mind.
Crash has.
Oh.
Wait, Lauren has with Crash? I don't know. I don't know how to say that.
I didn't measure him up.
I'm glad. I would be sad
Oh,
if
my
you
goodness.
did.
I don't know those statistics.
I know Chris just grunts. That's the appropriate response. Just let out a middle-aged grunt.
There are so many different directions that I've found my self-control in that statement that Chad made. Yeah.
Don't worry, I lack all self-control. I'm just an erratic weirdo.
Well, I'll create a post on our group, and you guys can comment what your symptoms are that you have of Houndsman brain.
Cool.
And in the future, there'll be an AMA about asking me and Chad about sighthound stuff if you guys want. Maybe that'll be in the future.
There will never be an AMA about
We don't
sighthound.
care about that.
Ever.
What are you talking about?
Never.
You can even ask us, how are their
boring.
heads so narrow? You know what I mean? We'll break it down. Why do they look like Anubis didn't eat for 6 weeks? I can break it all down.
Oh, I give you a hard time about your sighthound, Seth. I love it, man. It's
You'd
cool.
love it more
Now
from
you got to
the
back
hunt.
up, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to meet him. You have to meet
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I'm going to wrap this one up. And anybody got any final thoughts? Let's go around the round table as I see you on my screen. Seth, you got any final thoughts?
I do have some final thoughts. You guys, September's been a big month for Houndsman XP, and I just wanted to make a quick thing. Well, Chad helped me out already, but guys, check out the Redbubble store. I want to say one thing. When you're there at the Redbubble store, the Houndsman XP, it's called HXP Official, and there's links all over social media, and there will be more. When you see the list at our shop, you'll see 2 T-shirts. Now there will be 3 T-shirts. We're adding an extra design to the Redbubble, so stay tuned for that. By the time you're listening to this, it's there, you guys. Go check it out. Outer Agenda is a beast, and he's been making awesome logos, and he's got some really unique ones in the works coming up too. But what I was going to say is you will see 2 shirts, well, 3 shirts. Check out where it says Shop All Products. So we have a lot more than just shirts. You can put the Houndsman XP logo or any of these custom logos on anything you want. And I've noticed one person immediately got the Houndsman XP on an iPhone case. So someone out there right now texting, got Houndsman XP representing all the time.
That's pretty cool.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that a lot. And I was just really excited about that. I love customization. All I wear is custom clothes, and the Redbubble store lets you do that. So
Ooh.
All I wear is custom clothes.
Oh, my.
Oh.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Oh, my
Someone's going to
goodness.
have to come up with a steak and shake big gulp cup tumbler or something.
I'm sure we can get Derek to create a good
Yeah,
graphic for
Yeah,
that.
what's the artist's name? We gotta
Derek.
talk
Outer
to him
Agenda.
about-
Outer Agenda.
Yeah, Outer Agenda. There we go. We need to talk to him about, there's probably some trademarks, so I can't quite say steak and shake, but something. So, there's
Oh,
a
my
joke in there
goodness.
somewhere. This
Absolutely.
has
Chad, you have a mission now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Lauren, you got any final thoughts?
Well, our website is up, and maybe by the time that this podcast airs, we will have hit 1 million. So stay tuned if we haven't drawn for that giveaway for the Whitaker Brothers garment holster and the knife. We'll be doing that very shortly. So Seth mentioned Redbubble. So you can just find that super easy. You can go to our website, houndsmanxp.com. You hit on the shop link, boom, right there, ready to go. And then we're having another giveaway coming up. After we've hit 1 million, we're going to celebrate again. And we're doing another giveaway. And you guys are going to be super, super excited about it. I know I want one of these paintings. So stay tuned, and I will be posting all about it.
The website's so
Cool.
awesome. Go check it out.
It really is. Houndsmanxp.com. So it's easy to find. I don't know how you could screw that up. Chad, what you got? Closing thoughts.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add. Just that hunting season's right there. It's soon to have, tree videos, sighthounds smashing stuff, the falcon, pointer dogs. Duck season should be opening pretty soon around here, so I'll have all kinds of cool stuff to share here pretty soon. It's coming. It's just They haven't opened all the seasons up yet. It's a little too hot still, but
Yep,
it's all
I
coming.
feel you, brother.
You bet. You bet. Well, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Houndsman XP. And visit our website, houndsmanxp.com. Shop on Redbubble. And post a picture of the phone case, or when you buy something from Redbubble, post a picture of it on the Houndsman XP group at on Facebook or Instagram at Houndsman_XP_podcast. Till next time, you follow your hounds and I'll follow mine.
See ya.